this important issue. As you mentioned, my name's Carrie Howland Gustafson, and I am a gun owner. I'm also a volunteer with Be Smart, which is a organization that promotes safe gun storage. And so thank you for passing this proclamation that focuses on gun violence prevention. And as shown in the proclamation by the organizations that Mike just read, there's many organizations that have made gun violence prevention a priority. So 4.6 million children live in homes that have loaded and unlocked guns. And among children ages 0 to 12 years old, 85% of those who are killed by guns are killed in their own home. And in 2020, for the first time in 60 years, more children died by guns than in a car. So in Pennsylvania, the leading cause of death for children and teens is a gun. And I know that's a lot of stats, and I don't want to get bogged down in the stats, but that gives a context for why this proclamation is so important. I'm also on a subcommittee that Mike mentioned, which is the Center County Suicide Prevention Task Force subcommittee, Creating a Safe Environment, as are several people in this room who are going to talk here in a moment. But this was created by Olivia Luzier, who is the local representative of the Veterans Affairs, Department of Veteran Affairs. And the people on this committee represent Center County groups that are working hard to prevent suicide through lethal means. And this is important because 90% of suicides with a firearm are fatal. And we've learned that 25%, or about a quarter, of serious attempters deliberate for 5 minutes or less. So anything we can do that reduces the access to a firearm is going to help save lives. What this group has done is they've created some lethal means safety kits, and in them are gun locks and also safe storage information, and also the Veterans Crisis Line information. And they've distributed those here locally to VFWs, American Legions, gun stores, and senior centers. And those are all here locally. So this proclamation really recognizes what these statistics I'm giving you are going to help reduce in our, not just hopefully locally here, but also because these organizations are both local and national, hopefully we are moving the needle on this nationally too. So Olivia from the Veterans Affairs couldn't be here today, but she did ask me to express on behalf of the committee her appreciation to the commissioners for passing this proclamation, which supports the work of so many local and national organizations.
Thank you so much, Carrie. And we'll leave it to you to maybe bring folks up, and we don't want to make sure we don't want to miss anybody, but whatever order you think would be appropriate. Yeah.
So both Chair Samsel and Ms. Plasenko both planned, Plasenko, I think I pronounced that wrong, I apologize, Judy, are available here to speak, and I'll leave it to you.
I don't talk much. Good morning, Judy. Thanks for being with us. Thank you.
Judy.
Thank you.
I just wanted to bring some statistics again of the suicides that we've had in 2020 and 2021. We had a total of 15 suicides. Already in 2022, we've had 12. Of those 12, 8 of them have involved guns. So this is another reason that the gun safety is very important.
You might talk less than me.
Thank you so much, Judy. Thank you.
And I'm on board with the group. I'm a part of the CASE team as well. We have offer gun locks at our facility as well. Give them out free. People come in for license to carry and stuff. I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. I also support this initiative in trying to keep people safe. If you save one life, it means a lot for this, especially for suicide. So I'm a veteran as well, so I push this. It's dear to my heart. So anything we can do to reduce the violence with a firearm. So that's why I'm on board with the team. So I appreciate you inviting me here today to speak. It's a good initiative. I'm supportive of it, and like I said, I think most law enforcement agencies have these gun locks to give away. So if anybody needs one, stop by. Most guns sold these days have gun locks provided with them. But you know, if you don't have one, or you want to secure it, it's no better way to do it. I also have other literature at my office on gun safety for children through the NRA and stuff like that. So anything I can do to help, thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Carrie. Anybody else you wanted to have come up, or okay? All right, thank you. Okay, so I think we're going to turn it over to Commissioner Dershowitz this time.
Well, this is a subject that I'm very passionate about, and it's not. I'm going to be the public service announcement part of it, and I appreciate all the statistics and all the other things, but it would be incomplete to have a conversation about gun safety and not show a few of the things that are real game changers as far as keeping kids safe and keeping other folks who are at risk. And one of the things that, well, you'll see this is your standard gun lock that'll come with most handguns, that it comes with a lot of rifles. And in 2005, the federal government passed regulations and a law that indicates that it's called the Child Safety Lock Act. And basically, FFL dealers who sell handguns must provide a gun lock. And this is usually what you see. But what a lot of folks don't realize is this is bypassable by folks who really are determined to do that. Maybe the 6-year-old, 4-year-old might not be able to break this. So what I want to talk about maybe is a little bit more about the whole concept of gun safety. And to do that, this is another gun lock, for instance. This is for a single barrel shotgun. Now, this will not work on that same shotgun, and chances are there's a lot of different applications for gun locks that require specific apparatus. And one of the things that I would tell you is if you have any questions, you have children in your home, or you have somebody who's at risk, please take the time to visit a licensed gun dealer or local law enforcement and find out the alternatives that you can use to secure your weapons properly. Sometimes it's just as simple as a padlock. This can disable many weapons. But one of the other things that I want to really emphasize is there are all sorts of lock boxes. This is one that has a mechanical key lock on it, but you can buy them with biometric systems on it. You can buy them that are much larger, much smaller. You know, there's a variety of different programs out there for you to use. But one of the other simplest things, if you have particularly an individual who may be accessing your house that you don't feel comfortable with, sometimes the simplest thing to do is find a closet or someplace in your home that you can just simply put a lock on and deny access to your weapons that way. Very simple. It costs you a few dollars for a new lock set, but it really is something that will secure them. One of the other things that I really wanted to mention is if you have a significant collection of guns and you really want to secure them, not only from a safety standpoint, but from a theft standpoint or from a fire standpoint, is a gun safe. They make some that are massive, and they make some that are small, and every one of those has individual characteristics that tailor themselves to individual needs. So take some time, go talk to law enforcement, go talk to the folks that are in that business, and learn about all the options. And whether you use a simple lock or you use something as strong as a Liberty or Fort Knox safe, whatever that is, find a way to secure your guns. Because really, as much as we cherish our rights to possess guns, we also have the responsibility to keep everybody safe. And one of those simple ways is to make sure that they are secure. And there's a lot of different elements of that. One of the things that I would recognize is there's lots of organizations out there that provide information. The National Shooting Sports Foundation has teamed up with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention to talk about all the different elements of gun safety. But really, one of the things that we really need to emphasize is that there's no simple one solution to every gun safety need. So go out and educate yourself. One of the things that I will tell you I found yesterday is the U.S. Concealed Carry Association has a usconcealedcarry.com. They have a blog, and it's how to lock up a gun without a gun safe. And it's something that very simply can keep children safe, other folks that are at risk maybe because of mental health issues. But it's just the same as if we talk about how to keep narcotics away from children. It's the same thing. It's just common sense, good logic, and things that we can do to make a difference. And I really applaud the efforts of folks trying to highlight this. This is not a political issue. This is really a public safety issue that we can all do something about individually and collectively. So just wanted to share that with you, and thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, simply as Commissioner Dershowitz indicated, locking up your guns can slow down, delay, even prevent a suicide attempt. Children are an important group, but also teenagers. They're young, they're impulsive. They might spend less than 5 minutes potentially thinking about taking their own life. And if a firearm is available, easily accessible, loaded, unlocked, there's a 90% chance that they're not going to be there the next day. So please follow Commissioner Dersham's advice, lock up your guns, protect your loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. We're so fortunate here in Center County to have so many individuals and organizations that are committed to making our community safer. It takes time, it takes energy, and it takes determination. So really want to say thank you to everybody who's joined us to make a difference with this positive initiative. It's an important one. Again, we want to mention the Center County Sheriff's Office, Bellefonte Police, Ferguson Township Police, Patton Township Police, Spring Township Police, and also the Borough State College Police Office all have the type of kits that are sort of what Commissioner Dersham mentioned today, but the more kind of secure or other options are also available at local gun distributors as well here in Center County. So we want to make sure this information gets out, as Judy somberly and really just flatly stated. We have seen an increase in individuals who are having death by suicide, and so we want to make sure that we're getting this information out there, making sure that we know that resources are available here in Center County. So thank you all very much, everybody who came here today for this initiative and this proclamation. We'll see if there's any questions that the press may have for any individuals that were here today, but if not, we'll look into doing a motion for this action. Any questions? Would you like Carrie or anybody else to come up here? So this time we'll look for a motion to adopt and approve Proclamation 24 of 2022.
Motion to adopt proclamation number 24 of 2022, proclamation supporting safe and secure firearm storage initiatives in Center County.
I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions? Okay. Please, yeah, Judy, please.
The gun locks are also available at Rockview State Police.
Oh, fantastic.
They have agreed to have
Fantastic.
them in their lobby.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you. And that's, again, the new location's right there off the Benner Pike. Thank you. Thank you, Judy. We apologize for omitting them. Thank you. Okay. No, please.
I've recently learned that Penn State Police also have gun locks. So.
Fantastic.
One other thing, that one of the real, you think of a gun lock being always, it is very, very important that if you use a gun lock, any type of gun lock, that you do not use it on a loaded weapon. The gun has to be unloaded to safely secure it. And also, I would indicate that if you do have a handgun, particularly in a vault or something like that, that you keep it in like a Kydex or a form-fitting leather holster to provide coverage over the trigger guard, just in case. So, and one more layer of protection.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. Thank you all. We will at this time present the proclamation. We want to make sure that we get this to Carrie and Judy, the sheriff, anybody else who'd like to join us up here who have come here for this initiative.
Hi, Judy. How you doing?
Thanks.
I'll wave at Brian. Reach now.
We all fit?
Thank you all once again. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. On to other business today. We do have a packed agenda. We appreciate everybody's patience. We felt that that was such an important thing to highlight. We do have a presentation that we want to take time to listen to and appreciate. We're going to welcome up Fritz Smith, the CEO of the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau here in Center County. We've worked very closely. We know that we live in such a beautiful community. Worked with Fritz to invest some additional dollars over the last year or so to encourage individuals to come here, enjoy Center County. And so we're going to turn it over to Fritz to hear some of the highlights that have occurred from this winter campaign. Fritz, good morning.
All right. Thank you, and thanks to the Board of Commissioners for supporting us. I feel a little guilty. It's a little bit lighter subject here,
No,
but
no, sure.
we all need some good news in our days, right? But thanks to the Board of Commissioners for supporting the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau and the many constituents who rely on the income that comes from travelers for supporting this campaign. Just to give a quick overview, the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau is the officially designated tourism promotion agency by the County Commissioners for Center County. We were very grateful to receive from the Commissioners 2 grants from the American Rescue Plan, $250,000 to support a summer campaign, and then an additional $250,000 to support a winter campaign. And I think that it came at a badly needed time because travel is down across the country, as we know, for a variety of reasons, most primarily the effects of COVID. And in particular, meeting business and corporate travel has been down. Lots of other sectors continue to travel in this country, but consequently, our revenue sources were down. So this was a greatly needed supplement to our marketing efforts. And this was also sort of a test because historically, the Happy Valley Adventure Bureau has marketed Center County as a destination in the spring and summer. We don't have to work too hard, quite frankly, in the fall because football games tend to drive a lot of people here. But so this tested sort of a new proposition. Could we really start to reposition Center County, the Happy Valley, as an all-year destination? I think historically we've sort of thought, okay, people aren't going to come here in the winter unless they have to, right? But so this was going to test the proposition that we could convince people through marketing messages to come here in the winter. So why did we think it was needed? Again, I spoke to that year-round destination concept. We wanted to capitalize on the momentum from the summer campaign that the American Rescue Plan helped support. And then probably most important was that bottom bullet point that the hotels really need some help during the midweek due to the lack of meeting business that has been occurring that I referenced earlier. So this is just a look at some of the marketing channels that we were able to utilize with those funds. 13 different distribution channels, television stations, newspaper, print, social media, used some local mixture of local and outlets like Forever Media, as well as some regional in the Altoona, Johnstown, Pittsburgh, and Erie areas. So what we decided we were going to do differently this time was we were not going to put any attention and focus in the Philadelphia market. We just felt a little too expensive, competing with a lot of other voices, felt that the demographics of Philadelphia market showed that people probably weren't going to travel in this direction during this time. A lot of people in that population travel south. They go to Florida to get away, or they go up to the Poconos to go skiing. So because it's an expensive market, we decided to leave that out this time and focus our attention much more regionally, a shorter radius, and focus on Altoona, Johnstown, Harrisburg, Hershey Market, Erie, and Pittsburgh. And these were the themes we emphasized. We have great assets. I mean, most of these themes pertain to the whole year round, right? But we felt that these would be the points of emphasis for the winter campaign. So recognizing that it's a harder sell, we decided that of those markets that I mentioned, we would really put the biggest point of emphasis on the Harrisburg, Lancaster, Lebanon, York market, particularly the kind of the southern end of that market. Harrisburg, it's an hour and a half from here, so people are often tempted to make it a day trip and not stay overnight. But if you go south of there, or a little bit east, then it's more of to go to Lancaster or York, still the same media market, but now you're talking about a 2-hour drive, a little bit more likely to stay overnight and spend more money. So the advertising was deployed mid-December 2021 through March 22, really tapered off in the last 2 weeks of March 22. Important to remember as you look at some of the numbers that I'm going to show here that advertising takes some time to take effect. It has a little bit of a tail in terms of when it stimulates visits. Somebody who reacts to an ad may not, the average time that they take to act upon making travel arrangements is usually about 6 weeks. So keep that in mind as we look at some of the results. As we went into this, certainly you're going to be accountable with public money. You want to have goals that you can speak to, and you want to really document what it is that you say that you think that you can deliver for those funds for $250,000. So we said we were going to deliver 17 million impressions. So every time somebody sees a television ad, hears a radio ad, etc. Another primary goal was to increase visitation during the week as well as the weekend to recover the loss of revenue from business travelers and meetings, stimulate more than 5,000 additional room nights in Center County lodging facilities, generate 100,000 page views to happyvalley.com, provide 15,000 new referrals to Happy Valley Adventure Bureau member businesses from our website, happyvalley.com, maintain the level of hospitality jobs during what's traditionally a slow period. In my last presentation, when I summarized the summer campaign, I saw that we peaked at about 6,300 hospitality, leisure and hospitality jobs, as the federal government labels them. So those are people working in hotels and restaurants and places like Penn's Cave. And 6,300 is still well below the level of 7,800 before COVID. So we lost 1,500 jobs during COVID. So part of our goal when restaurants go into a slow period, they lay some employees off. So part of our goal was let's just try to maintain a stable workforce and create enough demand that those businesses can keep those employees on. Generate 7,000 new visits to Center County and generate $12 million in additional visitor spending. So here's just some examples of creative. We had a lot of digital advertising. So you're seeing some of the digital ads that that were displayed in those channels that I showed earlier. See a lot of emphasis on outdoors. We figured that was the strength of our marketing message for the winter. So how'd we do? We delivered a total of 19.1 million impressions. And when I was here before summarizing the summer campaign, we had delivered about 44 million impressions. And again, part of the reason for that was that we had broadcast television advertising in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh during the Olympics. And so the Olympics were driving a lot of visitors to those stations. Top performers of those 13 distribution channels: Visit Pennsylvania. That's a co-op marketing program that the state tourism office offers. We have had the distinction ever since they started that program a couple of years ago of being the top performer of all the destinations in Pennsylvania. I think that's terrific. Media One, a company based in Atlanta that does some very good digital advertising. Penn Live in Harrisburg. Harrisburg, the online version of Harrisburg's newspaper, has been a consistently strong performer. KDKA Radio in Pittsburgh, the McClatchy Network, happy to support a local company there. Travel Zoo, a newsletter that goes out to a subscription-based e-newsletter that shows travel deals all over the world, and a company called Madden Media. Now this one's a little bit hard to see, so I may walk up, but if you look at that, we signed on with a new research tool this year, a tool called Zartico, and it utilizes a number of tools, but the two most important ones are cell phone tracking, which I know sounds a little big brotherish, but as long as it's legal, they're going to be companies providing that information. So that gives a real good sense of where people are while they're in Center County. So we have some really good information about that. And then they have access to credit card information from American Express, MasterCard, Visa. So there is about 75% of all spending in the county from visitors. So even though that's hard to see, you can see the top blue line and the lighter blue line under it. That's the Harrisburg Hershey Market. And this is showing the dark line is winter of 21 or winter of 22 spending in our region, and the lighter line is from last year. And so you can see that 22 visitation from the Harrisburg, or the Hilly Market as it's known in media circles, was by far exceeded last year's performance. You see that the next line, you probably can't read it from where you are, but it's Philadelphia. Remember I said we didn't do any marketing in Philadelphia, and you'll see that our numbers, visitation's actually a little bit lower than it was last year. So I think those two lines probably exemplify to me more than anything else. If you ever wanted evidence that advertising works and that the lack of advertising also means something, you can see that our emphasis on Harrisburg, Hershey Market, really paid dividends. And you can see by us taking a break from Philadelphia that we actually lost a little bit of visitation. So the other markets, Pittsburgh, Erie, didn't tell such a good story, about pretty similar to last year, but where we really had success was the Harrisburg Market. I'll also tell you that anecdotally, here at the Bellefonte Visitor Station, the staff that we have there told us that they saw a huge increase, and they have seen a huge increase in visitors from the York, Pennsylvania area over the last few months. That's very interesting feedback. So how did we do in terms of hotel room nights? Well, I'm happy to say that this is really where we greatly exceeded expectations. During the month of December, we sold 12,900 more rooms than we had the year before. From January to March, we sold 36,000 more. And keep in mind that's in a market where the Nittany Lion Inn has been out of commission, and during the latter part of this period, the Days Inn, as we all know, were sold and went out of commission. So even though we had less hotel rooms, we were able to sell more. And we had, in addition, another source that we did some marketing with is Expedia. They generated 521 room nights. So there's another way of looking at hotel performance. On the left is hotel occupancy in the U.S. for the months in question. And I included April because, again, remember that the advertising sometimes has a lag effect. So kind of an unfortunate story here is that Pennsylvania is lagging the U.S. But if we compared Center County, or Happy Valley as I put it there, it's HV, we started out in December pretty far behind Pennsylvania's average, 32.6% hotel occupancy versus 46, so a 13% gap. January we started to close that gap. February we closed it a little further. Then in March we went positive. I'd say that's when the effects of the advertising are really starting to kick in, and we beat the Pennsylvania average in March, albeit by only half a percentage point. And then in April we surge ahead 2.4% over the Pennsylvania average. So that's another indicator that I look at that indicates a little bit of a slow start, admittedly, but you can see that it started to gain some momentum. So in addition to tracking U.S. versus national, we also compare ourselves on a monthly basis to 8 other college universities in the country: Ann Arbor, Michigan, Lafayette, Indiana, Athens, Georgia, Bloomington, Indiana, College Station, Texas, Columbia, Missouri, South Bend, Indiana, and Tuscaloosa. We were really behind those other towns from a hotel occupancy standpoint, but where we were able to beat them was on our average daily rate. Our hotels were able to raise their rates higher than those towns, and were able to get revenue per available room, actually beat all 8 of them during the time period that we were the hotels will tell you here that they've had to raise their rates because of the enormous, they have had to raise the compensation for their employees very significantly. Now, that's a good story, I think, overall. I feel the pain of the hotels and restaurants, but to be competitive, they've had to raise their compensation pretty significantly. They're also suffering from the transportation backlogs, the supply chain issues. So they're having to pay a lot more for food, for furniture, for all of the supplies that they buy. And so they've had to raise their rates pretty substantially. But the good news is they're able to, and it's all supply and demand, right? It's will the customer pay those prices? And the answer so far seems to be yes. So back to local employment, you can see that we did take a dip in January. Remember I said we were at 6,300 employees as of August in the industry. We took a dip in January. And then in February, we take a nice increase, 200 more employees hired in that 2022 bottom line there. We get to 6,200 employees. In March, we hold steady, and then in April, we get to 6,300, so that's back completely to the summer levels. It's still behind our high water mark of 7,800 in April prior to COVID. So I want very much to get back to that level. As we discussed the last time I was here, I don't think that 6,300 number represents what could be full employment here. I think there probably is capacity. Last time I checked, there were 400, a little over 400 vacant positions in the hospitality business in Center County. So they're having a hard time filling those jobs. So even though we're back to that level that we had in the summer, the industry still needs more people. So to get to the end here, just want to compare the results versus the goals. And this is what you care about. 19 million, 2 million more impressions than what we thought we would have. Hotel visitation, but during the weekend, the results got stronger as we got deeper into the campaign, as you saw. Stimulate more than 5,000 additional room nights. We really were conservative on this. I was probably way more pessimistic than I should have been. Maybe I was one of those people who was cynical about whether people would visit Center County in the winter. But we had 48,000 additional room nights during that period of time. So the commissioners can be confident in saying that this was a success. We don't take credit for all those room nights. Some of them are people coming here for weddings, funerals, some of it's business travel, some of it's meetings, some of it's athletic events. I will tell you that we didn't have more room nights associated with athletic events in the first quarter of 2022 than we did in 21. It's about the same. So in terms of web page views to happyvalley.com, 7,000 more than we budgeted for. New referrals, we fell slightly short on this metric. Referrals from our website, that's somebody coming to happyvalley.com and then going out to a restaurant or a hotel member. 3,153 of those referrals were to lodging facilities, hotels, bed and breakfasts, Airbnb, etc. And that was up 21% from 2019, which was a strong travel year. Maintaining hospitality jobs, we talked about that. 7,000 new visits to Center County was a goal. Ended up at 59,000. Some of those people, you saw 48,000 new room nights, but some of those people come for the day, or they come to a performance at State Theater or the Bryce Jordan, or a game at the Bryce Jordan Center and go home. So some of those people are day travelers. Generate 12 million in additional visitor spending, and we calculated it at 12 and a half. So the bottom line is, I believe that we can say it was a success. I feel confident in saying that in the future, I have a counter argument for anybody who says, oh, nobody will come to Center County in the winter. I think we've demonstrated that people will come. So on behalf of our members and our board, Commissioner Higgins is a member of our board, I say thank you to all three of you, and thanks for that support. I think it helped keep our hospitality industry thriving during what is traditionally a slow period, and I think you can feel good about it, as do we. So thank you.
Fritz, thank you so much. I think one of the big things that we really appreciate from your leadership at the HVAB is the consistency and really focus on data, because whenever we can show the state, us as commissioners, even our local township and borough folks, that there's an investment made and folks are coming in here to stimulate the economy, it's a benefit for everybody. So we know those public tax dollars went to really good use, and on the heels of the grant announcements last week, there's a lot of positive energy going into tourism here in Center County. So we may have some other questions or comments, but we thank you for that presentation. Yeah, please.
First, just wanted to congratulate you and your very talented staff. Amazing results. Again, you don't necessarily think Center County and winter tourism, but you showed that that's very definitely a possibility. And if I'm doing the math right, for every dollar of grant money, you generated $50 of economic activity. And I know those are pretty solid numbers, because you're basically taking credit card data and then adding a bit of a multiplier to it to cover stuff people bought with cash or checks. And I know, to the best of my knowledge, we didn't have, thank God, any major lodging operations go under during the winter. I was recently visiting another state where they're in bad shape because winter was a very bad time for them. So thanks again for your staff just hitting this one out of the park.
Thank you. As you and I discussed, we knew that the economic impact and the average spend for a visitor during this campaign was going to be lower than in the summer campaign, where it was more like $70 return. But again, it's, winter trips tend to be, unless you're going skiing in Colorado or you're going to the Caribbean, these tend to be shorter trips and with less spending, but still a positive return.
Is there any truth that the big majority of the increase was because of that fantastic Penn State wrestling team this winter?
Yeah, well, it drew great attention, positive attention to us, and PR, the value of that PR is just immeasurable. But the wrestling team tends to almost always sell out Bryce Jordan Center.
I know. I just had to put that. No, I just want to say thank you. Your whole crew does an amazing job. And our treasurer's here. She can tell you how much that means, not only to the hoteliers, but a lot of folks don't realize that a fraction of that money goes into a not-for-profit and for-profit fund that really takes care of a lot of the events that we enjoy all year round. And we just recently had the announcement for that, and the lives it touches and the way this is the quality of life in Center County is impacted by at such a dramatic level. It's fantastic, and everything that you do in your efforts and everything that the community sees from it all adds up to make Center County a pretty special place. So I want to thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah, please, any questions from? Yeah.
Is transition a fair assessment of hospitality and tourism? Talk to organizers of traditional events returning this summer, numbers saying it's not going to be quite the event we used to have, we hope to, but it's important to get something going this summer.
It is important to get something going. We're hearing similar sentiments. Right now, things are really challenging for event organizers, whether it's sports or a conference or a trade show. What's challenging is the expectation right now is that you do it as a hybrid event, as available in person, but also make it available on Zoom or other electronic communication channels, and that's making it very challenging, and it's lessening the economic impact. So I'm hopeful that we're going to be back to fully in person within a year.
Thank you.
Fritz, thank you once again. Please, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for the data. Thank you for the excellent work. We'll see you soon.
Thank you
okay?
all.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, next on our agenda, we have one bid opening, and I believe that we have some responses in front of us. Dave, good morning. And once we have any comments from you, we'll turn it over to John to do the opening.
Good morning. I just want to lead into this and thank you, John, for your work that's about to begin here. But we're asking to open the bid proposals for the fleet maintenance for all the county vehicles, including the paratransit vehicles at this time. So I'll turn it over to John.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. RFP packages for business and paratransit fleet vehicle maintenance must include one signed original proposal, one electronic copy, a cost submittal worksheet, and a bid bond in an amount equal to 10% of the proposal. The first one is for business fleet vehicle maintenance. There was one submission from Extreme Towing, LLC. There's the bid bond. One electronic copy. A signed original and one photocopy.
And at this time, would we announce the prices of what it would be, or is this a per hour rate, Dave? Help us to.
It would be per hour.
It's a per hour.
It's
okay.
a per hour bid rate, correct?
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know what our budget is for vehicle maintenance?
Probably about $120,000 overall for both combined, somewhere in that range. Of course, that varies by the age and condition of vehicles and the likes of that. But as we submitted this out for the RFP, it's for a 2-year term with 3 one-year renewal options that we've asked for in the bid.
Are you interested in the pricing?
If it would have it, yes, please.
Sure. Extreme is proposing an hourly rate of $70 for light-duty vehicles. They will offer a 5% discount on aftermarket parts only. They are proposing towing services at a rate of $75 within a 10-mile radius for light-duty vehicles. And they are offering detailing, interior cleaning, exterior wash for $45 per car, and minivan vehicles.
Any other dollars you needed or cost?
Nope, that's
Dave?
fine.
Was it?
Nope.
Okay, all right, thank you.
That sounds good.
And again, that was for the business fleet.
Yes,
Okay,
for the business, correct.
So for paratransit fleet vehicle maintenance, there was one submission also from Extreme Towing, LLC.
Recently, Dave, due to supply chain issues, we haven't been getting as many used Penn State vehicles through our in-kind dollars, so we've been, purchasing new. We may see a slight decrease in the amount of repairs we may need, but still with that ongoing maintenance and suggested maintenance
Yeah.
is something we always keep up with. So.
That's very possible, correct, Commissioner.
So there is one digital copy, a bid bond, they're proposing an hourly rate of $80 for van and bus maintenance with a 5% discount on aftermarket parts only. Extreme is proposing towing services at a rate of $100 within a 10-mile radius for medium-duty vehicles, and they are offering detailing, interior clean, exterior wash at $85 per van or bus.
Thank you, John. Anything else you needed from?
Nope, sounds good. We'll look forward to sitting down and reviewing and working with John and staff to bring back a recommendation in a couple weeks.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, John. Yeah, please.
We're requesting a motion to table until Tuesday, July 12th.
All right, 2 weeks then. We'll look for a motion to table.
Motion to table the request for proposal for the business and paratransit fleet vehicle maintenance until Tuesday, July 12th.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any final questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is carried.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Steve.
At this time, we're going to welcome up Mitzi Gallagher Long. She's going to introduce some of the HANA reps, some of the folks who serve on their board, and also some of their consultants. So we'll turn it over to you at this time, Mitzi. Good morning.
Good morning. Do you want me to start with the HAMA, which is number 5, or you want me to start with number 1?
At your discretion, whatever you think would be best.
I'll start with number 1. The
Okay.
first item is the Community Development Block Grant 2022 Project Review. These are the projects that were submitted for consideration for the 22 application. You had 3 projects that were submitted. The first one is the Eagle Creek project. This is a project you did fund last year. You funded $52,392. They do intend to apply for a competitive this year, which they will be approaching you about. And so in order to be eligible to apply for the competitive, they have to be on a 2022 application. So they are looking for an allocation of some sorts from you for 2022. The second project is the Haynes Woodward Municipal Authority Mountain Avenue project. This is the project they submitted last year that was not selected. They did do a survey last year, 81.48% LMI, so it is eligible and fundable. And this would replace a water line and installation of fire hydrants, and also they're requesting funding for engineering. So their total project ask would be $216,526. And the third project is a project from Gregg Township. Their engineer did attend the first public hearing. Their project would be to redo the gymnasium in their community center, which is the old school. And the project would replace the flooring and the windows to make it energy efficient. They have a stage in this area. They would wish to hold activities for the community residents. The gym is also utilized by Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and local youth sports, basketball, Little League, softball teams, and also the 4-H group. They do not have community-wide LMI, so they are undergoing a survey right now. It is a very large survey. They have started it. Ray's department was very nice to provide a list from the GIS department, and then Liz spent time whittling down the list, removing vacancies, parcels that don't have a structure, etc. So they will need to complete that survey by July 8th so that the commissioners know whether or not the project is fundable and eligible to be selected. So that is your project so far for consideration this year. Moving on to number 2, this is the amendment to the on behalf of subrecipient agreement that the county holds with Bellefonte Borough. The agreement you have now, of course, was for their originally chosen project, which was their rent mortgage utility project, which they did close out and then modify to the vehicle repair. So this is just adding that vehicle repair project to the current subrecipient agreement that you have. And we would be looking for action today on that. Number 3 is the subgrantee agreement between the county and Center Helps for the county's vehicle repair project. And of course, looking for action on that one as well today. And then number 4 is the professional services agreement for the Haynes-Aaronsburg Municipal Authority competitive project. And that was the recently awarded competitive project. And this is just the agreement between the county and CEDACOG for us to administer the program. So that, of course, we're looking for action for as well. I don't know if you want to take that action before we talk about their next item or not.
I think we could probably hear from the folks from Hammond and
Yeah,
Jim.
sure.
I don't think it's any different. I mean, we certainly support it, so don't worry. And anything you say, we're not going to not support that grant.
Well, maybe
so.
not everything.
Well,
This is a
okay.
new project. They are now seeking another round. As you're aware, there is $54 million left in the unspent CV money. And so HAMA is looking to put an application in for a piece of that funding. There is a very short timeline, so we will need to move very quickly. So they will need to know very soon if the county is definitely on board with submitting that application and move through the hearing process and action process. So Charlie and Pat are here from HAMA, and their engineers, Pat and Matt, are here from Buchart Horn, and they can describe their project much better than I can.
Fantastic.
Hello, thanks Commissioners. I'm Pat Ward, Buchart Horn Engineers. We've been working with the Haynes-Arensburg Municipal Authority on their water system. They are a water system for several years now, working towards succeeding in renovating that entire system. As Mitzi said, Charlie Valentine sitting next to Matt. Charlie has run this water system for quite a number of years and very successfully and extremely dedicated to that effort, and he now has some paid help on hand that he's been training, and that's been good as well. Pat Valentine also serves as the treasurer for the authority. She's also a board member, and although others in the community have certainly been very dedicated to the authority's operation, I don't think there's any people more than Charlie and Pat that have helped make it a success. To give a little history, the Haynes-Arensburg Water Authority, which serves the village of Arensburg. Sometimes there's a little confusion between that and Haynes-Woodward, which was just mentioned a minute ago. But it started out as the Arensburg Water Pipes. It was a private entity, and over a number of permutations over a lot of years, it became the authority. And what's going on right now is they had a water plant that was built 20-some years ago. That plant needs to be replaced, and the way this got started was, working with the DEP to look at the replacement of that plant, also bringing a new water source online. They've had insufficient water for quite a while, and so that was the initial project, and to tie that together. And some of the funds that the commissioners have already approved for the authority, which we're very thankful for, by the way, has gone towards that effort. Even the most recent CV project was to bring in a piece of that. The Haynes-Arensburg system, like many systems in small communities, it's primarily comprised of a network of water pipes. The water pipes are generally very old. Charlie spent many a cold night fixing leaks and keeping the system going. We did not originally look to include the replacement of all of the water piping simply because we just didn't think the money was there to go out and get it. And the water plant was the most important, and the new source, because obviously that contributes to at least the water being clean, if not leaking away in places. But in recent events that have gone on relative to COVID relief and really working, I have to say Mitzi has been fantastic throughout this process. I should not have overlooked that, but she's been an angel to us. But at any rate, became aware that there's an opportunity to acquire these additional funds that she mentioned. We looked at the whole distribution system, and again, it's a pretty small community, so it's not massive, but in talking to Mitzi, we thought there was an opportunity to apply for this additional funds. These kinds of opportunities don't come around very often. There's a true need there. It needs to be done throughout the village. And fortunately, they've already met the low to moderate income need. That took a huge time burden off of the process. And so we put together a project that would be essentially the rest of the water mains in the distribution system that were not covered by what's already been funded. So, and that remaining project piece, if we were able to get the funds to do everything, would be about $10 to $11 million. And we've asked for about 10.5. If we were unable to achieve that much funding, we do have a priority listing of the mains. I mean, certainly, even though it would be good to replace them all, there are some worse than others. And we would simply use kind of a menuized formula of main replacement that would take care of the most deteriorated mains first. So anyhow, it would be awesome if the funding program worked out that we could take care of the village of Aaronsburg, and they'd be good for probably a good another 75 to 100 years. But we are excited about the fact that this opportunity's here, and hope that the commissioners would see their way to supporting the project. So that's where we're at. I don't know if Charlie or Pat or Matt, I'm not going to let Matt talk. He talks way better than me, so I don't want him to show me up. So, but at any rate, or Mitzi, if you had anything to add, but that's what we're about. That's what we're looking for. Mitzi had mentioned there's a pretty tight timeline on this. We are ready to go. We are committed to getting this done, and we will make that timeline, no matter how grueling it is. But we're going to do it. So, anyway, that's what we have to say. If there's any questions.
Any questions or comments on this request? I know we've been a huge supporter of HAMA, especially with Mitzi at CEDACOG, and so it sounds like an opportunity we wouldn't want to miss out on. But any questions or comments before we consider?
Well, just to review, what number are you looking for in the second round of competitive?
10 point, well, let me get the exact number. 10,509,000.
That's an aggressive number.
What's that?
That's an aggressive number.
Yeah. Well,
hopefully you'll get it.
You got to strike when the iron's hot, right?
That's right. Well, we appreciate it.
But the important thing about it is very much needed. Sure. And I don't want to leave the commissioners with the impression that we're going for it just because it's there. It's there and we really need it, so we're going for it.
I guess the second part of my question is, in that process, and maybe Mitzi has the answer to this, suppose you're not successful getting all 10 million, will they consider a fraction of that through this process?
Yeah, during review, and it really does depend on how many applications they get.
Right.
They are sitting on $54 million they have not been able to spend. The state really needs to spend that money to make HUD happy.
Right.
So they would come back if they get a lot of projects and they can't fund it all. They will come back and ask you to talk to the engineer about pulling a piece and making a smaller project, which is what happened the last time and how this smaller CV project got funded.
That's what I initially opened with. That's an aggressive number. I'm thinking, is it all or nothing, or
no? Like I mentioned, we can prioritize the different segments of Maine, and we can. I mean, any size project that we get funded for, we're going to do. But it'd be nice to know that we at least got a substantial amount of it done. But we'll get done what we can get done.
Yeah, I'm sure, as Charlie can tell everyone, it's very challenging to run a rural water authority. 7,500-year-old. But Aaronsburg is a very special place. You've got the Dutch Fall Festival there. You've got the History Museum there. Yeah, very happy to support a project for Aaronsburg.
Thank you very much. To both Charlie and Pat, the work you've done for this system should not go unnoticed. The community down there is such a lovely community, and so thank you for all the work that you've put into this. I know that day in, day out, you've really done so much for it, so thank you. We really want to appreciate you both. And we've got this unique opportunity where there was hundreds of millions of dollars given to Pennsylvania in 2020 during the COVID pandemic when it was first going, and there's some remaining competitive money that's left over. And unless there's a project that's really happening right now, there's not going to be the ability to spend that money down by the deadline. So this is a very unique opportunity to do this. I don't think we have any reservation about asking for the largest amount. It's okay if we get some, but there may be an opportunity to get the whole amount. And so if that opportunity opportunity exists, we should certainly go into it. And Mitzi, it sounds like from CEDACOG's perspective, and would you mind joining us at the podium just so that we can capture you on CNET? Apologies. But from CEDACOG's perspective, this is something that you can do, and the bandwidth is there for this?
Yes, we're going to have to move quickly, so we'll have to get a scope in front of you, plan the hearing with John. We have to have 2 hearings, 2 notices, and then get on an agenda with Aaron to get back here, get formal action approval, application pages signed, and the application is due August 1st. So it's a very tight timeline.
I think we can do that. We can make that happen. Make it happen. Okay. I think we have consensus to move forward on this and to go for that whole amount, and also wish the best with the current money that has been given out through the competitive phase. So wish you all the best. We'll certainly make sure our legislators in Harrisburg and the governor's office know about this request as well, and can't hurt, but just to let them know that that's coming in as well so they can advocate on your behalf. Okay. In terms of item 1 for the project review, the timeline's a little bit more flexible on that one, Mitzi, or is that also an August 1 deadline?
No, that's your October regular 2022, so you'll still go through the process like the schedule.
Okay, sounds good.
We've had remarkable success through CEDACOG on a lot of these competitive grants. The one that really sticks out in my mind is Rebersburg. A number of years back, they were in a similar situation and got the help that they needed. So hopefully you'll have equal success. So good, thank you.
All right, looks like we'll be looking for a motion to approve items 2 through 4 with the October deadline for that first one. We have time for that one, and also consensus to bring back additional CV competitive requests for HAMA at a later meeting. But we'll look for a motion today for items 2 through 4.
Motion to approve the planning and community development items 2 through 4.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions on this? Any questions? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion has carried. Okay. Thank you all so much on this. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Welcome up, Natalie. Thank you for your patience, Natalie. For some human service items.
Good morning. So I have before the board 3 items for the MHAD office. The first one is a contract addendum with the Youth Service Bureau. We are increasing their contract amount by $135,915 for the fiscal year that ends Thursday. One note of this was specifically the Department of Drug and Alcohol had funding available to us in the beginning of the calendar year that we explored, and so what we have been able to do is expand some of the alcohol, tobacco, and other drug education that the YSB does into our more rural communities, school districts such as Phillipsburg, Bald Eagle, and Penns Valley. So some of this money is really going toward their efforts that they have done toward those prevention activities in our other parts of our county. The second one is with the Youth Service Bureau for our upcoming fiscal year for our early intervention services to do special instructions and individualized family service planning. Contract amounts $1,000, small, but we use them as we see necessary for our EI program. And the final one is with Community Rising Therapy to also continue to provide speech therapy and specialized instructions for our early intervention as we enter the new fiscal year, with that contract total being $12,000.
Thank you, Natalie. Any questions or comments on any of those items?
No, sounds good.
Okay, we will look for a motion.
Motion to add the mental health, intellectual disability, early intervention, drug and alcohol items 1 through 3 to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion, questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Motion is carried. Okay, and then the adult services item.
Yep, so on behalf of the Adult Services, this is the letter of agreement with Strawberry Fields for referrals. As I was before the board last week with the Office of Aging doing this with Strawberry Fields, this is a similar setup to just show the continuity of care that we have between our nonprofit organizations in the community, the licensing they have to do with the state, and then with the county offices. While they're not funded, we again offer the opportunity for referrals and information to work on behalf of members of our community for services. So this is that letter of agreement with Strawberry Fields.
Thank you, Natalie. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion to add Inc. to next week's consent agenda.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion has carried. Thank you so much, Natalie.
Thank you.
Welcome up, Norm. Thank you for your patience, Norm.
Good morning. We are asking for approval of an addendum to a contract with Center Communication for decommission of the old Center Hall Tower. We experienced some delays with equipment removal and relocation from the tower when winter set in, restricting safe access to the site. Center Wisp is also behind on the removal of their equipment. Center Wisp was given to the deadline of July 31st to relocate all their equipment to the new tower. Unfortunately, the costs have increased to this project due to unexpected delays. The cost of the work has increased from $9,360 to $11,415. We do have the additional funds in our budget to cover the cost.
Thank you, Norm. Any questions or comments? Okay. All right. We'll look for a motion.
Motion to add the contract addendum with Center Communications to next week's consent agenda.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you, Norm.
Thank you.
Okay. Chad, we'll welcome you up. Thanks for your patience as well.
Good morning. Today I have a contract with RBA Professional Data Systems for software licensing and maintenance for the county's GUI platform, which has 15 different software modules on it. The contract will run from July 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2023 for a total of $239,625. I'm asking the board to consider approving this today as our current contract for these software systems ends on June 30th.
Thank you, Chad. Any questions or comments for Chad? Been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on this? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion has carried. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you.
We have today's consent agenda in front of us. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve today's consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. The motion has carried. Okay. We do have a, we'll look for a discussion on a budget revision that may be needed, and so we have that in front of us. Is there, okay, or, yeah. Joni and Ethan are going to discuss that? Okay, for the budget revision? Okay. Okay. Oh, no, Ethan, fantastic. Okay, yeah, please, yeah, please. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, sure. Hi, Ethan. Good morning.
Hi. You guys don't know me, but my name's Ethan Howard. I'm the new client relationship manager for Penn State Extension.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. This is my second week, so I'm brand new. I actually grew up on a farm down in Snyder County. I worked for Farm Bureau, Pennsylvania Farm Bureau, for the last 7 years in southeastern PA. So I'm really glad to be back home and back with the pigs and all that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for your potential support with Penn State Extension and allowing us to do the things that we do to try to empower local communities. I did not have a background with Extension until just recently, but I work with them quite a lot with Pennsylvania Farm Bureau down in southeastern PA, and they do a lot of great things, so I'm glad to be aboard. So thank you.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Okay. Yeah, please.
The amount that is requested is basically a correction to the budget. This will bring the total funding up to maintain current service levels in line with the 2021 services.
Okay. Thank you, John. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thanks, Ethan. Okay. Any questions for Ethan, John?
Welcome aboard, Ethan.
Thanks.
Welcome aboard, and good to see we've done the work with Penn State to utilize some in-kind funding for this.
All right. We'll look for a motion to approve this budget revision.
Motion to approve the budget revisions.
Second.
All right. Moved and seconded. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. The motion is carried. Okay. All right. We have, we're going to, believe we're going to welcome up Ann at this time to see if we have any questions on our 2023 fee for local use and liquid fuel schedule. Ann had presented this at a meeting just last week. We just wanted to get consensus on this and officially approve it so that we could send this information out and just have this readily available. So any questions for Ann on this? Okay.
No,
all right.
that's good.
And there hasn't been any changes since last week. This is still the same schedule with late August and then early December action. Okay.
It's the same schedule.
Okay. Thanks, Ann. We'll look for a motion to approve the schedule.
Motion to approve the 2023 fee for local use and liquid fuel schedule.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any final discussion, questions? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Thank you, Ann. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have our check run. Commissioner Higgins.
Yes, we actually have a noticeably larger than average check run of $2,170,845.32. Highlight a little something from planning for Ray. We have a $10,000 check to Universal Settlement for our first-time home buyer program. I've helped another family here. I think we're pushing between about 18 to 24 new home buyers per year now, which is a fabulous number. And obviously, if anybody out there in Center County is a first-time home buyer, $10,000 loan, interest-free, and you don't have to pay it off for up to 30 years. Either you have to pay it off when you refinance or when you finally pay off the mortgage. Any questions? No? All right. Motion to approve the check run dated June 24th.
Moved and seconded to approve the check run. Any final discussion on the check run? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. John, anything to report?
Nothing to report at this time.
Commissioner Dershowitz, our voter registration report.
All right, this morning, we have 105,110 registered voters. That's up 26 registrants from last week's report. The Democratic Party has 43,962 registered voters. The Green Party has 148. The Libertarian Party has 654. No affiliation is 14,129, and the Republican Party has 42,423. And when you add the 3,824 all others, you get that 105,110. I would like to highlight, and of those minor parties, I would like to highlight the Constitution Party, which has actually a total of 15 registered voters in Center County. We would like to recognize them. I'd also like to recognize precinct number 64, which is Patton North 1, which votes at the Patton Township Building. In the primary election, they had a total registration of 2,294. There were 739 ballots cast, which leads to a total percentage turnout of 32.21%. And I'd also like to recognize the Judge of Elections, which is Jennifer DeSico. The minority inspector is Thomas Tobin, and the clerks are John Brownstead, Sam Marshall, Maya Eikenberry, and Sarah Carey. And again, thank you to Patton Township for allowing us to use their facility, and we'll see you very soon.
Thank you, Commissioner. We do want to make the announcement that this Monday, Center County government offices will be closed for the July 4th holiday for Independence Day. We hope everybody has a wonderful weekend and reflects on the amazing country we live in and Independence Day so long ago. Executive sessions, any executive sessions?
No executive sessions to report.
Public meeting schedule is listed there. We appreciate Gary and Pete. Any questions from either of you before we adjourn?
Some new development coming around the Nittany Mall area. Most recently, a tire and auto shop to come where the former Sears Auto was. So with these new developments, people are continuing to wonder what's going on with the proposed casino for the mall. Not sure if that's something that you would have a potential update on.
Not unless it was put on the gaming website or anything that's been reported in the media. But no. We had no say in the process. It's purely a local matter in terms of College Township and the planning that they're doing for that. But no, we haven't been brought into the loop on anything like that. Yeah, but it seems like there might be some lawsuit. I'm just anecdotally. That's all that I've heard. Just yeah.
And then just looking back at the cell tower, the 911 tower removal, is this part of an effort to digitalize? Is there another tower going up in place?
There was actually an inspection of the tower that happened, I believe, in 2021, where it was deemed that it was needed to be replaced, and so we essentially needed to find a way to do that. And so we have a new tower in place. The equipment's been moved over for the most part. Sounds like Center Wisp, the internet provider, still needs to move their equipment, but all of our equipment, the county's, is currently on the new tower, so it's safely functioning. We just need to remove the old tower. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
DEP has a hearing on the Benner Township water issue. Steve, you raised it a month ago or so. Is anybody from the county or any of you planning to testify at that hearing?
I don't know. I don't want to speak for any of us. I don't know if there's any plans to. Yeah.
I don't know about test. I think it's more designed to inform the neighbors about what the filtration and water system will look like under this latest proposal, which involves a number of residents in the area getting funded through DEP for filtration, but there are some loopholes with that, and I think that's going to be probably the crux of most of that conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Any other questions? Okay. We'll look for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Motion to adjourn at 11:17.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.